All right, we're back, Dari. Game week 1.
It's finally over after the weeks of preparation, man. How's
Dari,
everything?
Dari, I stayed up 3 a.m. till the deadline, twinkling between players. How did how did your game week 1 go? And did you go according to plan?
Ah, I think our game weeks went the same. We came out with the same amount of points.
We had the same amount. I did not really
Yeah,
check
yeah.
mine.
I think we both had 77. Solid game week one. Biggest thing for me. We were part of like a Zoom chat on Friday night with the guys from
F-
the FPL Vibes League, and
FBL vibes. Shout out Omar.
yeah, when I got off that Zoom call, I said my biggest decision was gonna be Kane or Vardy, and unfortunately, I went with Kane. But I had a good week. I had Salah as captain.
Yep.
He made over 50% of my points, but it was good. I think 77 was a good start.
So I think that's a good start, and I feel like that's the benchmark you have to set for yourself. Game week out. I mean, if you could hit that every week as the minimum, I think we'll be in a good position. Now, go back into Kane. What what did you see in that Tottenham game, Tottenham Everton? What you saw as positives for Tottenham and negatives in as a FPL owner,
I didn't
if
like.
any positives at all.
I'll go straight to the negatives first. I didn't like the fact that when they were down 1-0, that Everton still dominated the game. You would think at that point Spurs would raise
Right.
their game. So I wasn't really impressed by that. Doherty, it was his first game, and I heard Mourinho say he didn't have time to train with the team because I was expecting more from him as well going forward.
He got a good shot. I
Yeah,
was taking
but
that shot in the 6 yard box.
after seeing how well Aurier did last year going forward, I expected a lot from Doherty.
Wow,
I was a little disappointed with that.
Aurier was on my radar, and thank God I didn't pick him up. Yeah, well, Doherty, I mean, I would take that shot, but I mean, overall, the ratings on Spurs wasn't. Well, I wouldn't say their team wasn't that good. Anybody on Spurs stand out to say like, all right, I'll give him a next shot?
Nobody for Spurs really stood out for me. The guys who stood out in that game was Everton players. Richarlison, James, Alan had a really good game. Although wouldn't suggest Alan as a fantasy pick, but Alan had a nice real world game. Also had some stats from our stats guy, Gomzi, who should be on our next show.
Right.
And he sent us in some stats. One good thing was James had 5 key passes, and he had 2 shots. And Richarlison had 5 shots on goal. And I was watching Richarlison all throughout that game. He could have had 2 goals easily. There was one he stumbled. He tried to cross it back. To shoot.
Right.
A lot of people were saying he could have crossed it back, but he had a shot. So Everton players look really good. They in my consideration, and they have a very good fixture this coming week. So Everton is a team that people should have in consideration going forward.
And seeing with that, the attempts in that game, Everton had 15 attempts and 14 from open play. I feel like they dominated that game. And like I mentioned in that chat we were in, that FPL vibe chat, I think the Curry is the cement for that team and the guy to keep that ball there for him. I was in love. I love his style since Watford and
the
and box to
midfield.
box.
If you run through all 5 players, James, he was making very good passes to the left wing where Richarlison was coming from. Alan did well defensively. Doucouré did well box to box. Richarlison had chances on the left. Andre Gomez did well until he came off for Sigurdsson. It's a very talented midfield. So, they are a team we should look at going forward. I'm not a big Calvert-Lewin fan up front, as we discussed previously, but with those guys behind him, he could score some goals this year. He only had like 2 shots, though, but he could score some goals this season.
Yeah, I could definitely see Calvert coming in there and, getting at the end of some of Richardson shots and hitting some rebounds in there. So Everton is a side we'll look at. And game week 1, we saw Arsenal, Arsenal, Fulham. Well, what's your thoughts on Arsenal?
Willian was the big topic of discussion.
I didn't really want to discuss Willian because he's always in my fantasy team every year. And this year,
oh, wow.
Because of the mystic air of
I had some good I had some good Arsenal news. I had some bad Arsenal news. I went into this game week with 3 Arsenal players. I had Holding, so he did good. He gave me 6
Solid.
points. I had Obama Young was my vice captain,
Right.
so that was good. But the where I faltered was I had Eddie Nketiah up top, and he came on for like 5 minutes maybe. So he's already going to be my transfer out this week.
Did he have a chance? I didn't see that because I'm on West Coast time. And I could have seen the first 4 minutes. So
I really don't remember, but all I know is there was so many guys in that price bracket that he's already for sure out of my team this week.
What was his price?
6.0. So I have 0.5 in my bank. I built a team that was 99.5. So Callum Wilson looks like the buy this week for me.
Got him.
Yeah.
I got him.
Straight swap.
I am keeping this guy, Callum Wilson, in my team. I'm a big fan, like I told you in one of the episodes before. I'm a big fan of this guy. He creates and he just assists. He's a do-it-all striker. He's an under-the-radar guy. And when I saw him at 6.5, to me, that was a steal of a deal.
So what I noticed this game week, we had 7 players in our starting 11s who were identical. So with me going to Callum Wilson, we'll have 8 guys next week. Well, depending on what your transfer is.
Yes. I have some big news to announce about my team, which I probably will reveal in another episode. So hold on to that. It's not happening now. This is just us catching up about our game weeks. Talk a little bit about the game. So Arsenal, another guy who I feel like a lot of people had on their team was Saka. He didn't see the field.
He did not.
I had no reports on it. I had no reports on what happened with Saka on that. But Saka didn't see the field. We saw Maitland-Niles play that left back spot. And, there were rumors of him going to Wolves. But after today's season, Wolves look solid on the back. They have 2 left backs basically already. So I don't really see.
Well, a lot of people today had a Vinagre from Wolves, and
including myself.
We saw how that worked out. So glad I didn't.
Luckily, I had a bench Mitchell giving me my points, but I didn't see the man warm up on his side.
He's going to be transferred out by a lot of people this week.
Right.
He's going to be transferred out by a lot of people this week.
So that was Arsenal, and
yeah.
What were your thoughts on Lacazette? Could he be a striker to keep?
I think with Oba in there, obviously Laka has a better price. But I think with Oba in there, a lot of people are going to go with Oba. We might go for cheaper strikers. I'm not sure Lacazette is at the top of the list right now. It's like a wait and see with him. Yes, he did good. He got a goal. But he's a wait and see for me right now. I'm not going to jump on him.
I feel like he's a Lacazette will always be a wait and see until the end of the season. Like people will be waiting and see until game week 33 because we never sure if Laka is going to play the 90. He's never really played the 90. And then in some games, he'll come on from the 75. So it kind of screws you over, So
something because they said come on in the 75 in this game, not Arsenal related, but Fulham related. We spoke about Mitrovic a lot in the preseason. He came on in maybe the 75th minute or the 60-something minute. So that was a big one for a lot of people looking. That was like a lot of people's third striker, and it was interesting to see him come off the bench. I think he will start the future games, but, he had to build up his fitness and all of that. So we'll see how soon he is back in the starting lineup.
That was a hard pill for people to swallow this game week. Jumping back now to the Kane Vardy situation. Jamie Vardy. I was peddling with Jamie Vardy and Kane as well. And my thought process was, if I take Kane, I can still go back and afford Vardy if I make the switch, right? Rather than if Kane scored a hat-trick, I missed Kane, and I had Vardy, I can't afford him now. So I went with high to go back down low. But in all honesty, my gut tells me, Tottenham have a good 5 games. Out of those 5, I could still see him getting 3 goals. Still,
I'm gonna have Kane on a short leash.
How short is his leash? 90 more minutes. 90 more minutes.
I'd say I'd give him 2 more games. Because we have to remember coming into game week 2 now and then game week 3, Man United, Man City are back on the schedule now. They're back in rotation. So Kane needs to show that he's worth this price. Otherwise, we have guys out there. There's going to be Aguero. There's going to be Martial. There's going to be players from these teams that we can switch Kane to. So he's on a short list for me. Even Aubameyang, although he scored, we have to look at KDB, Sterling, Bruno. So these guys, bring it or you're gone. It's as simple as that. Bring it or you're gone. So Salah brought it. These guys need to bring it.
Salah brought it. We'll go on to the Liverpool game next, but Salah brought it. But Kane, before we jump onto them, Kane, I personally feel like Kane is you evaluate him for 5 games. You give him a 5-game span. You don't want to dig yourself into a hole in FPL and get too far down. So you got to hope you hit with the captains every week, in which we were lucky to do that. But I think Kane is a guy, I have to give him the next 2 games, regardless, because, and I look around the board, he has the same probability of scoring than as Vardy, as somebody else in all these game weeks.
Yeah, well, the style of play means a lot to me. I need to see teams going forward, attacking. You have chances, you have shots in the box. Like I said, I haven't checked all these things yet. I'll have these things checked and ready for our Gameweek 2 preview later in the week. But these guys, you need to be getting chances, and Mourinho style sometimes is not always conducive to that. So, and like I said, there are so many other alternatives out there that the leash is short.
The Leicester play Burnley next. Does that make you feel a little bit at ease? Leicester plays Burnley, and Spurs play Southampton. Empty stadium in the South Coast. Nice conditions, should be good for Harry Kane. And Leicester,
Southampton surprised me how poor they looked against Palace. I know a lot of people trusted Danny Ings this week. They didn't really inspire me. So Kane should have chances, but at the same time, Burnley, I think, on a downward trajectory right now. I know Sean Dyche had the team probably around mid-table for the last few seasons, but I think this season we might begin to see some slippage there. So this week it's 50-50 Kane or Vardy. I have Kane. I'm going to have to ride with him this week because, like I said, I'm only making 1 transfer this week, and that's going to be Nketiah to Callum Wilson more than likely. So, yeah, we'll stick with Kane.
All right, and let's jump into Liverpool Leeds. That game happened.
That was the game of the weekend. I'm surprised we didn't start with that game. That was a very exciting game. 7 goals. It introduced a lot of Leeds options to me. Props to us and to myself. We had an episode where I said a preseason episode. I said Jack Harrison is the poor man's Mahrez.
You call the poor man's Mahrez.
I told you the poor man's Mahrez, and he delivered already for you guys. I hope people were watching and listening. He is a player I was very familiar with, and I was introduced to a lot of other Leeds players. I don't know how to pronounce the guy's name. Was it Click?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Click. He did well. He took his goal well. Yeah. Leeds did not back down from Liverpool. They didn't come in there playing defensively.
Clitch played good. We had Bamford. Bamford had a chance to put it to tie the game.
He scored his first chance. We've all been told that he needs a lot of chances to score. He took his first chance very well. It was a mistake from Van Dijk, but he still took the chance well.
Right. And I think, as I said in the early episodes, I like looking at the wing backs on these kind of teams. And Ayling, he right back, got up down the field. You saw
one of the man bun guys on that team. A lot of guys on that team.
That team. Dallas at left back. I could see those guys on teams with not that much pace on the outside, exploiting them and getting good crosses in. So Ayling, Dallas. I had Phillips on my team. He was on my bench, obviously because it was a tough game. But before that game week, I went over and looked over some of the leads and to watch over the stats, and he was the center of most of the goals. So I was lucky enough to fit him in my team. He had an assist. But I do think that, he could produce some more stuff. And they have Costa on the wing. That when Costa had Robertson and those guys working.
Yeah. Let's not even talk about Robertson and Alexander-Arnold. I think Alexander-Arnold is about 50% of teams, and he was disappointing. Harrison had the beating of him a couple times. He didn't give us anything going forward.
He didn't give us absolutely
I
zero.
believe Trent is the most transferred out player right now. At least the most transferred out defender right now. Mane is the most transferred out midfielder. So a lot of
Right.
people already getting rid of Trent, probably to find some money elsewhere in the team. I'm going to stick with Trent this week, but he was really disappointing. Robertson was out of position a couple times defensively as well. He did look good going forward. He was on a lot of set pieces. So Robbo, he did
Yeah.
look good going forward.
Yeah, cheers to Rabo. Rabo was nice on those corners. Yeah, he whipped in some nice corners, and um, I mean, again, I had a buddy of mine. He had what? He had about almost 90 points this week. He had Firmino in his team. I'm still in shock with that. I don't know if I'm more in shock that he had Firmino or he had 90 points, because I can't see Firmino at 90 points going in a team.
Yeah,
But
same.
he had Firmino, so that's a quick drop. But all in all, I mean, I don't, Mane owners, I think he's another guy. He had chances that game. If Mane was out that game, I would say, hey, drop him. But Mane was just as involved. It's just that Salah is very hungry for these goals.
Yeah,
And Salah is a beast. And I am leaving him in my team.
I was
And he will
surprised you had
marinate.
Salah because I know on a preseason episode you said I'm a Salah guy and I thought you were a Mane guy.
I
So I
am
was
a Mane
surprised.
guy, but the attitude Salah had when I watched, the restart and how he was hungry for those goals, I know that goal would haunted him.
And he did have 2 penalties, but that does give him because they're the same price. That gives him a big advantage over Mane being on penalties. So that's one of the reasons for me. Because unless Milner is on the field, Salah is going to take the penalty.
Right.
So that was a big reason for me. But my big focus on Liverpool this week, I think they need to improve defensively. A lot of guys have Trent. A lot of guys have Van Dijk. A lot of guys
What do
have.
people do? What do people do with Trent? What do you do with that 7.5 on your books?
I believe you stick with him, but at the same time, if there are other guys out there you interested and you want to make that sacrifice, because Trent is facing Chelsea this week, so that's a very tough game. But I mean, I bought him to try to possibly have him in my team for all 38 weeks. But at the same time, I'm not gonna tell someone not to transfer him out. If you see an option somewhere else, if you can downgrade Trent to, I don't know, a 5.0 defender, and you want to use that 2.5 to get you to a KDB from Son. Son is 9, KDB is 11.5. So a lot of guys want to get rid of Son. That's 2.5 takes you straight from Son to KDB. You download Trent to a 5.0 defender. So I'm not telling people not to take him out, but I'm not gonna take him out.
Yeah, I think I would play. I would play that game, and it's crazy again. As the next one I lost, I was between Robertson and Alexander. The game before the first match, yeah, and the 0.5 is where I was like, if I have 7.5, at least I could downgrade. Then that's how I looked at it. And again, the higher price player didn't pay off, because Robertson got the assist.
We'll do some housekeeping at the end of the episode before we wrap up, but I did pick Robbo and Nemo Salves over Trent last week.
There we go.
But we're gonna do some housekeeping before we wrap up this episode.
Let's just jump into the housekeeping. All right. And let's wrap this up.
So some quick housekeeping for you guys. Number one, we want to shout out Ian Noriega. Yeah. Had 94 points, top of the Island Guys League.
With Firmino on his team.
Oh yeah, but he had Salah, he had Gabriel, he had Willian. He did well, so big shout out
Redo.
Yeah. Big shout out to Ian Noriega. That's the first piece of housekeeping we got to take care of. The second thing we have to keep track of, we're doing a 38-week contest that's between you, myself, and our guests. Every week we're going to pick one person and see how those points add up after 38 weeks. Remember, guys, we can only pick somebody one time for the season.
Suicide style.
So the first week you picked Ings, he made 2 points. I picked Van Dijk, he made 7 points.
So you got
our guest Ian picked Salah, 20 points.
That sucks.
The guests are way out ahead already.
I know, right?
The good thing is they can't pick Salah again for the season. We still have Salah left. You never know, we might get a double game week later on.
Exactly.
But the guests right now are...
Ian, come on, man. Ian.
The guests are way ahead. So this week we see who our guest picks. And the final bit of housekeeping, because we tried to give you guys some must-have picks last week. And let's go through them real quick. Salah, 20 points. Oba, 7 points. Kane, 2 points. Vardy, 13 points. Tierney, that was your pick that I went against. Yep. But he had a clean sheet. He made 6 points. And the last one was Robbo with 4. So I think we did fairly well with the must-haves other than maybe Kane. Everybody else,
right?
You know, we had 2 guys in double digits. These guys did well. We see who we have in our must-haves again this week, but we have a good track record so far. So that's the housekeeping for now.
So we got a good track record going into game week 2. That's just a little summary of how our weekend went, how the matches went. Later on this week, we break into our teams a little bit and talk a little bit about game week 2 and who we should do. Yeah. And big things are coming up this week. Manchester City, Man United are back in, and we have to make some decisions.
Couple of things. So we have a guest coming up in a future episode. Also this week, we're going to have to see the debut of our statistician extraordinaire, Gomzi. He's supposed to be on an episode this week. And
we have Hyper Hopper coming up in our next episode.
There you have it, guys.
All right, let's see what his team is.
At FPL guys on Twitter, FPL_Island guys on Instagram.
Follow us.
Apple, Spotify, Google, YouTube.
TikTok? No, TikTok. No TikTok. All right. Yeah, that's it for us. We out, guys. Take care.
Bless.